Welcome to the JCPS MTSS Classroom Systems that Support Student Behavior Toolkit training on the application phase level systems. I am Bo Burkett, MTSS Engagement Resource Teacher for the High School Zone.
I am Dominique Dobson-Penn, MTSS Engagement Resource Teacher for the elementary schools in the AIS Zone. Please take a moment to type the case-sensitive bit.ly into your web browser. This will allow you access to all the links for the activities and resources offered throughout the presentation. Here you can see the components of multi-tiered systems of support, also known as MTSS. MTSS focuses on overall school improvement by aligning resources and support for both teachers and students. We provide multiple levels of support for learners that address academic, social, emotional, and behavioral needs, and produce professional development that is aligned with schools and the district as a whole. This concept map shows a visual of the MTSS departments in JCPS. The MTSS academic department provides teachers with Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention and academic support. This department is led by Donna Lawson. The MTSS behavior department supports schools in implementing school-wide behavior systems and frameworks, which includes PBIS and restorative practices. The point of contact for the behavior department is Sandra Hensel. The goal of our department, the MTSS Engagement Department, is to increase student achievement by equipping teachers with high-yield instructional practices to maximize student engagement. The supervisor and point of contact for our department is Dr. Naomi Brahim. There are 6 MTSS toolkits that were created by our department to provide resources for Tier 1 instructional practices, to increase student engagement, reduce student behaviors, and decrease proportionality. Here are the 6 MTSS toolkits. The website is linked on that image. Classroom systems that support student behavior use academic and behavior data to put short and long-term supports in place to help students be successful. The Classroom Systems Toolkit contains 3 research-based, high-yield instructional practices. These HYPs should be implemented first. Within these practices, the application of phase-level systems should be used when appropriate. Student-teacher relationships require teachers to interact with students positively in order to create an optimal environment, which will result in fewer problem behaviors in the classroom. The teacher carries most of the responsibility for maintaining quality relationships with students. The second HYP is classroom management and classroom behavioral practices. Establishing roles and expectations in the classroom and engaging effective strategies to maintain a positive climate is a major predictor of student achievement in any classroom. The last HYP in this toolkit is teacher expectations of performance. In order to impact student achievement and behavior, it is important to communicate high expectations and provide feedback on performance related to those expectations. Teachers should regularly communicate expectations, teach, prompt, and encourage student success that will accentuate growth and progress. Phase-level systems create a continuum of natural privileges that students earn through an accumulation of success in other systems. So students know what is expected of them. It is key to have the phases planned in advance, taught to students, and made public in the classroom. Before we dive into more specifics of phase-level systems, let's talk about tiered or layered supports. Notice the graphic on the slide showing the various levels of support. Tier 1 supports for all students, serves as the foundation. Tier 2 supports are layered on top of Tier 1 and are provided in addition to Tier 1 for a small percentage of students. Tier 3 supports are layered on top of both Tier 1 and Tier 2 and are provided for even smaller percentage of students. Our focus on today's training, phase-level systems, can be used as a Tier 1, Tier 2, or a Tier 3 support. Successful implementation is when the teacher utilizes phase level systems to fade unwanted behaviors out of the classroom through utilizing natural privileges in a classroom system to incentivize and reward the desired behavior. In today's training, we will learn how to effectively implement phase level systems in a classroom. You will gain an understanding of phase level systems.
Take a moment to read about phase level systems from our Classroom Systems That Support Student Behavior toolkit. There's a link at the bottom of this screen you can click on to make this slide larger. Some of the key takeaways from phase level systems is the following. The phases need to be planned in advance. You should have instruction around the phase level systems to ensure understanding. Be sure that each level has its own criteria for access and privileges that are needed to ensure both achievement and maintenance. There should be no more than 4 levels in your phase level system. Just because a student has lost a level doesn't mean the student cannot earn the level back. Let's take a moment to reflect. What are some current areas, situations, or misbehaviors in your classroom that need to be improved? Which of these could you use phase level systems to address those problems? Here are some key steps for effective implementation to keep in mind. Step 1, develop criteria. What are the privileges associated with each level? What are the criteria for reaching a level? What are the penalties associated with different misbehaviors at each level? Step 2, teach the system to your students. Teach the system and all criteria. Post the system and call attention to criteria as a way to encourage all students. Step 3, begin implementation. This is helpful if it's attached to an existing token economy so that students see progress daily. For more information on token economies, check out the Token Economies professional development offered by our department. Step 4, monitor to ensure the system is working for all students. Individualize as necessary for students who are not successful. And step 5, fade. Fading is built in as the final level for total independence. Some things to consider when implementing phase level systems. Create rules so students do not get completely discouraged, thus removing their incentive to make continued effort. Phase level systems can be useful for the average classroom. However, it is best reserved for classrooms where intensive structure is necessary to help with student success. Teachers that approach their behavior support system through a lens of equity undoes systemic oppression and removes barriers for learning. Teachers must be mindful of cultural norms or students. To create a communal environment, students must be appreciated within their own distinct intersectionality, race, ethnicity, gender, ability, language, and socioeconomic background, so they can become outstanding citizens in the classroom and community. In classrooms where ECE students are present, teacher collaboration and data collection are key. Be certain to collect data on the specific behavior to track this behavior. Collaborate with the student's teacher of record to help implement appropriate interventions. Follow up with the teacher of record if the interventions are not working. Creating a collaborative learning environment requires teachers to have solid classroom management skills. When engaging your students in authentic projects, be certain that you have the appropriate class-wide and individual behavior supports in place. These supports will increase engagement in students and increase the likelihood of a successful project. Keep in mind, you will want to monitor how long it takes for students to achieve each level, and if you need to revise the criteria, do so when necessary so that students can generally move to the next level with 80% success rate. On this slide, you will find supports from the MTSS plan and JCPS behavior intervention grid with the link. This grid gives potential interventions for commonly seen classroom misbehaviors. With the bit.ly we gave you at the beginning of this training, you will have access to explore these resources for more information on phase level systems, as well as other positive behavior supports that you can use within your class. Thank you for joining us today to learn more about phase level systems. For more information about our department and our instructional toolkits, please visit our website, which is linked to this slide.